Welcome to Ancient Greece, Lesson 2, Colonization and the Polis. These were Greek city-states that really started after the Greek Dark Age. Greece's recovery from its Dark Age led to three important developments. First was colonization. The population quickly began to outgrow Greek cities. People started Greek colonies. A colony is a settlement in a new area. Between 750 BC and 550 BC, Greek colonies spread to Italy, France, Spain, North Africa, and Western Asia. Second were coins. As trade grew, the Greeks began to make or mint coins. Merchants had traded with goods, now they traded for money. This gave trade a strong boost. The third was specialization. As demand for goods quickly grew, people in different areas specialized in making certain products. For example, areas rich in clay specialized in making pottery. We talked about specialization a long time ago when we talked about Georgia being very good at making peaches and Florida being very good at making oranges, and then the two states are able to trade with each other. This is what happened a lot in Greece. Some city-states were very good at growing olives, while others were very good at making clay pots. So the two city-states would trade with each other because they were able to specialize in making one good, and they were very good at it, so they were able to trade. By the end of the Dark Age, Greek society had changed. Instead of kingdoms, there were city-states. Each city-state, or polis, was made up of a town and its nearby area. Each polis had an acropolis, or main gathering place. The fortified acropolis sat on a hill. It could also be a religious center. Each polis also had an agora. This open area below the acropolis was a market and a meeting place. Remember, we talk about Greece as having a very temperate climate. This means that it was warm most of the year, even in the wintertime, so they were able to meet outdoors all year round, very much like Florida. The Greeks were the first to develop the idea of citizenship. Each Greek city-state was run by its citizens, and we'll talk more about this later when we talk about Athenian democracy and Spartan oligarchy. In ancient Greece, only free, native-born men who owned land could be citizens. Some city-states, such as Athens, dropped the landowning requirement. Still, slaves and foreign-born residents were excluded. Women and children could qualify for citizenship. However, they had no citizens' rights. Citizens could choose officials and pass laws, vote, hold office, own property, and defend themselves in court. So essentially, a lot of the freedoms that we take for granted today were only offered to citizens in ancient Greece. Greek citizenship also included certain duties. Each citizen had to serve in government. They also had to fight for their polis as citizen soldiers. Since the rise of city-states, wars were no longer waged by nobles riding horses and chariots. By 700 BC, each polis depended on an army of citizen soldiers called hoplites. Hoplites fought on foot. Each soldier had a shield, a short sword, and a spear. They went into battle in rows. Hoplites made good soldiers because they were citizens. They took pride in fighting for their own city-states. However, this hometown loyalty caused division and distrust among the Greeks as a whole. We'll talk more about this when we talk, obviously, about the Peloponnesian War. But the Greek city-states were known for having strong armies, and that's one of the reasons why they were able to conquer so much of the world. So just to review, as the Greek Dark Age ended, the Greeks began to set up colonies kind of all around Europe. These were settlements in new areas that really started to spread the Greek culture and really set up the Greeks to be a power to be reckoned with. They set up city-states. These were independently governed cities, much like Mesopotamia, so they wouldn't have like a Greek emperor, but they would have governments in each of these city-states, and as we'll talk about later, these governments could vary. Free native-born men could be citizens if they owned land. Women and children had fewer rights, and slaves and people who were born outside of Greece had very few rights. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.